1703, Mediterranean Sea. A Royal Navy warship closes in on a pirate vessel. The captain expects a bloody battle. Instead, he finds something that will haunt him forever. The deck is covered in unconscious bodies. Rum barrels smashed open. Weapons scattered everywhere. Every single crew member, passed out drunk. But there's one man still standing. Swaying, yes. Drunk beyond belief, yes. But still conscious. Still smiling. Still in command. This man had just consumed enough alcohol to kill 4 grown men. And he was about to negotiate the deal of his life. His name wasn't Jack Sparrow. But it should have been. Today, we're going to destroy everything you thought you knew about Captain Jack Sparrow. And show you the real men who made Hollywood's most famous pirate look like a cartoon character. Because the truth? It's stranger, darker, and more insane than anything Disney ever imagined. Before we dive deeper, if you love real pirate history that Hollywood won't tell you, smash that subscribe button right now. We're a growing channel and every single subscriber pushes us closer to our goal. Hit that bell icon because these stories don't stay buried for long. Now, let's meet the man who drank death under the table. What makes a man abandon everything he knows and become the most wanted criminal in 2 empires? John Ward was born around 1553 in Faversham, England. Nobody important. Nobody special. Just another poor fisherman in a country that was building an empire on the backs of men like him. He joined the Royal Navy out of desperation, not patriotism. For years, he followed orders. Watched younger, richer men command ships he knew better than they ever would. The anger built. The resentment grew. Then, one night in 1603, he made a decision that changed maritime history forever. He stole a boat. Recruited a handful of desperate men. And sailed away from everything. Here's where it gets weird. John Ward had an obsession that historians still argue about today. He kept birds on his ship. Talked to them. Used bird calls as signals during raids. His crew thought he was eccentric. His enemies thought he was insane. The screenwriters of Pirates of the Caribbean never confirmed it publicly. But every pirate historian points to Ward as the primary inspiration for Jack Sparrow. The name itself. Sparrow. A small bird. A survivor. Someone who wins with wit, not strength. Sound familiar? Comment below. Did you know Jack Sparrow was based on a real person? This gets crazier. Ward didn't just become a pirate. Within 5 years, he became the most feared name in the Mediterranean. He captured ships faster than governments could respond. Built a fleet from nothing. Established a base in Tunis, North Africa. And then he did something that shocked the entire Christian world. He converted to Islam. John Ward became Yusuf Rees. For England, this wasn't just piracy. This was the ultimate betrayal. He had abandoned his country, his faith, his identity. And in doing so, he made himself legally untouchable. The Ottoman Empire's protection meant European governments couldn't touch him. He had outsmarted every power that wanted him dead. But here's the detail that historians can't explain. Contemporary accounts from merchants who survived encounters with him describe Ward as constantly, functionally drunk. Not stumbling drunk. Operating drunk. A Venetian ambassador wrote about him in 1608. He described Ward as short, stocky, loud, always holding a drink, wearing mismatched expensive clothes stolen from a dozen different captains. The ambassador said Ward seemed to be performing the role of a pirate rather than being one. And yet was the most dangerous man in the Mediterranean. If that doesn't sound like Jack Sparrow, nothing does. Here's the part Hollywood borrowed and then toned down because reality was too extreme. Ward once negotiated with the Bey of Tunis while so drunk his translator had to physically hold him upright. The meeting that would determine whether he lived or died. The most important conversation of his entire life. Drunk. Completely, absolutely drunk. And he won. He secured permanent safe harbor. A deal that protected him for decades. The negotiation that kept him alive when every navy in Europe wanted him dead. The most brilliant tactical decision of his career, made while he could barely stand. This is where the legend begins to make sense. Ward wasn't surviving despite the alcohol. In his twisted world, the alcohol was part of his strategy. But if John Ward gave Jack Sparrow his personality, another pirate gave him his style. Born in Wales, 1682. In just 3 years of piracy, he captured over 400 ships. More than Blackbeard. More than any pirate before or since. And he did it wearing a crimson damask coat, a hat, diamonds on every finger, and a gold cross stolen from the King of Portugal. He was theatrical. Vain. Brilliant. Terrifying. He wrote his own code of conduct for his crew. One of the first democratic systems on any 18th century vessel. Every man had a vote. Every man had a share. Every man followed Black Bart's dress code. Because if you're going to plunder the Atlantic, you're going to look magnificent doing it. Here's the twist that nobody sees coming. Bartholomew Roberts, the most flamboyant, theatrical pirate who ever lived, didn't drink rum. He drank tea. Let that sink in. While his crew consumed rum in quantities that would hospitalize normal men, Roberts sat on the quarterdeck with a cup of tea, planning raids with the precision of a military general. He believed alcohol made men sloppy. He was right. His crew's survival rate was significantly higher than other pirate ships precisely because his men were less drunk during combat. Hollywood combined Ward's drinking with Robert's style and created Jack Sparrow. A man who appears drunk but is always 3 moves ahead. The reality? 2 separate men. One who drank. One who dressed like he should be drinking. Now here's the question that haunts every historian. Was John Ward actually protected by his drinking? The answer is genuinely disturbing. The primary killer of sailors wasn't enemy fire or storms. It was scurvy. A disease from vitamin C deficiency that made teeth fall out, wounds reopen, organs fail. Rum didn't prevent scurvy. But ships carrying large quantities of rum also carried lime juice for mixing. And lime juice? That's what saved lives. British sailors became known as limeys because the lime was the medical intervention. The rum was just the reason the lime was on board. Then there's the water problem. Fresh water in wooden barrels became contaminated within weeks. Dysentery from bad water killed thousands of sailors. But alcohol, even at low concentrations, kills most waterborne bacteria. Crews drinking diluted rum grog were consuming a basic antiseptic that kept them alive through bacterial exposure that would have killed them. Ward's constant drinking may have actually been protecting him in ways 18th century medicine couldn't explain. The rum didn't make him invincible. But it may have quietly kept him alive when more sober men died around him. The ocean doesn't care how famous you are. Storms around the Cape of Good Hope, the North Atlantic in winter, Caribbean hurricanes, these weren't dramatic backdrops. They were mass graves. Waves reaching 40 to 50 feet. Wooden ships flexing under the strain. Pumps running constantly. If the pumps fell behind, the ships sank slowly from the bottom up. Pirates actually had a survival advantage. Merchant ships were loaded to maximum capacity because cargo meant profit. Fully loaded ships were sluggish, top-heavy, dangerous. Pirate ships were deliberately kept lighter. Faster. More maneuverable. Better able to run from a storm instead of fighting it. Ward survived multiple storms that destroyed better-equipped vessels. Some was skill. Some was ship design. And some, historians admit, was pure luck. Here's the detail that makes no sense. John Ward died in his bed, in his palace in Tunis, in 1622, at approximately 70 years old. After 20 years in the most dangerous profession in the world. The average pirate career ended in death or capture within 3 years. Ward's lasted 2 decades. He built a palace, married, had children, lived as a Muslim nobleman under Ottoman protection, while every Christian navy wanted him dead. He outsmarted, outlived, and outdrank them all. So what did Hollywood actually steal from history? From John Ward, the impossible survival. The alcohol that never dulled his edge. The cultural conversion. The foreign base that made him untouchable. And the birds. Always the birds. From Bartholomew Roberts, the fashion. The theatricality. The democratic crew code. The sense that piracy wasn't just crime, it was performance. Jack Sparrow isn't one man. He's the distilled essence of an entire era. A century of men who looked at the world's rules and said not for me and sailed away. Some died within months. Some, like Ward, built empires and lived to old age, laughing at the governments that wanted them dead. The real pirates weren't charming adventurers. They were desperate, dangerous, often violent men in a world without safety nets. But they were also, some of them, genuinely extraordinary. People who reimagined what life could be and had the reckless courage to try it. John Ward didn't ask permission to become someone different. He stole a boat and sailed into a new identity. Maybe that's why we're still talking about him 400 years later. If you made it this far, you're exactly who this channel is for. Comment below, who was the real Jack Sparrow? John Ward? Bartholomew Roberts? Or someone else entirely? I want to hear your case. This channel is built on stories history books skip over. Maritime legends the world forgot. If that's your obsession, hit subscribe right now. We're almost at our goal and every single subscriber matters. It costs you nothing. It means everything to us. And it keeps these forgotten stories alive. Until next time, watch the horizon. Because something is always out there.